manage the rooms.
Okay, great. And we have a couple of other faculty members that have joined us as well. All right, wonderful. Everyone is coming from the waiting room now. I'll wait till everyone connects. All right, welcome. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our first of two discussion fora on the committee of, not the committee of practice, the community of practice on education. My name is Dr. Megan Healy-Clancy, and with my colleague, Dr. Jabar Solomon, we are the academic co-directors of the Mandela Washington Fellowship Program at BSU. So we have four of our fellows from Bridgewater State joining us today, but we really look forward to also meeting all of the other fellows in this community of practice and inaugurating a really rich conversation around educational leadership, social justice, and social change. So I'll allow so let me just first of all say a little bit more about myself. In addition to being the academic co-director of the program, I am the coordinator for the work on African studies that is done at Bridgewater State University. And I also teach in the history department. I'll allow now my colleague Jabar Solomon to introduce himself briefly, and then our colleague Dr. Wing-Kai To, who's the administrative director of the program and the associate provost for global engagement at Bridgewater State University. And then we'll move on to have everyone else present introduce themselves as well. So Jabar.
Good afternoon, good morning, and good evening, fellows. Alongside my colleague, Dr. Megan Healy-Clancy, I'm also a professor at Bridgewater State University. I teach in the social work program for both undergraduate and graduate social work. I also have a background in education because actually my doctoral work is in psychometrics, which is in educational assessment. So this is very exciting to combine both of those areas, and looking forward to our session today. And now I'll pass it on to Dr. To.
Thank you very much, Dr. Solomon. My name is Dr. Wing-Kai To. I'm the Associate Provost for Global Engagement at Bridgewater State University. As Dr. Megan Healy-Clancy introduced me, and very glad to meet all of you, especially we haven't met about 20 of you who are not in our institute. I know some of you from other universities. University of Minnesota has a lot of members, and other Wayne State University. If I remember some of the names, welcome to all of you.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much again for joining us. I'd also like to introduce our colleague, Kemi, who's our administrative assistant in the program. Kemi, she's our grad assistant. Yes.
Okay, so hello, everybody. My name is Kemi. I'm a graduate student currently studying master's in public administration and working as a program assistant for the Mandela Washington Fellowship Institute for Young African Leaders at Bridgewater State University. Thank you for having me here.
And Kemi, Wing-Kai, and Jabril and I, along with perhaps another colleague that'll be joining us in a moment, will be facilitating some breakout rooms to get to know you all a little bit better later in the session. First, though, let's go around and introduce ourselves. So we have some other BSU faculty and administrators present. They'll introduce themselves in turn too. I'll just go around the Zoom room and ask everyone to share their name, if you're a fellow, what country you're from, and if you're at BSU, what your role is at BSU, and more broadly, what area of education you work in. So are you a teacher, an administrator? What is your sort of main focus in this community of practice? So we'll begin in my top row with Dr. Tom Wu. Tom.
Hey everyone, thank you, Megan. I'm the intern dean of College of Education and Health Sciences, and I'd like to give a thank you note to Dr. To, Megan, Jibri, and Kemi and his team for putting this wonderful event together. Thank you very much, and look forward to the meetings and breakout rooms.
Thank you. It's great to have you with us. All right, and next, the person who's listed as Lendem86. Lendem86.
Hello,
Hello.
good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Timothy Victor Imbali. Timothy Victor Imbali, the name you can be seen. It's not right, my name. I am from Guinea-Bissau. I'm working in education. Concretely, at this moment, I am director of a teacher training school. And also I am a teacher.
Wonderful. Well, it's
Thank you.
wonderful. Thank you. It's wonderful to meet you, Timotei. I have one of my students who's an African Studies concentrator is from Guinea-Bissau, actually here at BSU.
Wow.
Hopefully, yeah, he's coming to our next session today. Wonderful. It's so nice to meet you. All right, and moving along in our row here, Daniel from Madagascar. Thank you for sharing your country name and your bio.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. So I'm Daniel. I'm from Madagascar, and I'm a child and youth care worker by training, and that's what I do as a job.
Wonderful. It's so nice to meet you. Sorry, I'm just making some notes here. Great.
Yeah.
All right. And Nana, would you like to go next?
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
I'm really happy to be here with you guys. My name is Nana Bobajidou. I'm from Mauritania, and I'm the general manager of private primary school, leader of YouTube. I'm here and with the project of building a school for the poor children in Mauritania.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us, Nana. It's great to meet you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
I don't think we've had a fellow from Mauritania before, so this is wonderful.
Okay.
All right. So Nwabisa.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nwabisa. I am from South Africa. I am a theater maker, director, and I come into education. I teach actors, direct actors, and just create workshops for creatives who are interested in pursuing a career in the arts or theater.
Wonderful. It's so nice to meet you. Your work sounds fascinating. I remember I Googled you when I first got the list here. That's great. And I work on South African history in particular, so tend to have an interest in these topics. All right, great. George, are you, yeah, there you go.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is George, and I'm the sign language interpreter for Rose. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes, and we're also joined by a closed captioner who's been working behind the scenes here. Thank you, George. Great. Marlene Carrere.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Marlene Carrere, and I am an assistant professor in the education department here at Bridgewater State University. I teach literacy courses in the elementary and early childhood education department. And this summer, I am also serving as a summer fellow for the Office of Teaching and Learning. And I'm really looking forward to hearing from all of you at this session.
Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us. The Office of Teaching and Learning is a resource on campus to help professors be better teachers. It's a very important thing we do. All right, and next up is Rose, please.
Good morning and good day to everyone. My name is Rose. I am deaf. I am from Kenya, and I work as a disability advisor. My role is providing technical inputs on education for children with disabilities. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Rose. We're delighted to have you. Thanks. And next is Mohammed.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mohammed from Kenya. I work for County Government of Lamu as an assistant director in the Department of Fisheries, but I have an education program. I call it Students Mentorship Program in schools. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. We're delighted to have you with us as well. Great. And next is Gloria.
Hi, everyone. My name is Gloria Anderson from Tanzania. I am the founder and the executive director of Tanzania Enlightenment Development Innovation. It's an NGO that works to improve the quality of education in Tanzania. We are basically working on providing different programs that are not 100% being implemented in the education system of Tanzania, the likes of digital literacy, financial literacy, entrepreneurial literacy, leadership programs, as well as 21st century employability skills. And we work with diverse groups from primary education, secondary education, higher learning institution, as well as graduates. I'm very happy to meet my education stakeholders from different parts of the world. I'm looking forward to learn from each and every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's wonderful to have you, Gloria. And next is Frank.
Hi, Megan, and hello, everyone. My name is Frank Carrigan. I'm based at the University of Cape Town. I'm in innovation and learning. What that is we, outside of classroom learning, which is a core curriculum, but that involves bridging between residences and the faculty. So we get the academics to partner with us so that the residents are not a bed and breakfast, but actually learning does take place in the residence. So I oversee that process, and yeah, we have different social and academic programs. And of particular interest is entrepreneurial program I started some years ago at a very small scale in the residence. Basically for me, that came from when I was a student. I benefited from a competition. Interesting enough, it was called The Apprentice, sort of a Donald Trump.
But not that one.
Yeah, but there's basically students from different universities across South Africa mixed into teams would get challenges from directors or executives, for example, Procter & Gamble, and then we have to present the solutions the following morning. So it was quite high pressurized, but for me, that gave me a window into the working world. So I thought, how can I do that in a small way for students now? So within that, that's where the competition, the pitch came about, where students would pitch their ideas or their startups and get feedback from judges. So over the years, I've iterated that and built that, and the Vice Chancellor partnered with myself and the students who I lead to run that. And now it's offered to all 28,000 students and partner with different organizations inside the university and outside. So yeah, that's basically some of the projects I'm doing, and I'm excited to meet with everyone. And I've always wanted to be in a community of practice, interesting enough. So excited to hear what everyone is doing.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. It sounds fascinating. I feel like residence life is not often very well developed, as far as I know, at a lot of African universities, whereas a lot of American universities, we do more of that kind of teaching and learning in the dormitory space. So that's a great idea. Wonderful. All right. And next up, you are labeled as user. You can share your name and where you're from and what you do.
Okay, thank you. My name is William Simon Molen, and I'm a teacher by professional. I'm based in Ismail in the Lake Zone of Tanzania, and I'm an educational practitioner. And what I normally do is providing educational and the education for the students, for the rural community, on the importance of education, so that they can invest in education, especially for the students who are living in rural community. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. It's wonderful to have you with us. Great. And next up is Dr. Jabar Al-Abadi, part of our leadership team for the Mandela Washington Fellowship. Jabar, would you like to briefly introduce yourself?
Hi, good morning, good evening, good night, good afternoon. So this combination is a pleasant meeting you all. So I'm the Academic Director of Global Programs, and I'm an educator and professor of communication studies. I teach intercultural communication in addition to media ethics and law. And I usually, love working with teachers. That's part of my really interest, and also with leaders like yourself, because I know young leaders like yourself. Personally, I learned a lot from them before they learn anything from me. So it is a great community, and I hope we will get something new from our sessions today, and I wish you the best.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And Jabar will be one of our breakout room facilitators. So many of you will get to know him a little bit better. Right. And next is Ibrahim, please.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ibrahim Barry. I am from McKinney, Sierra Leone. I'm currently working as a junior lecturer at the University of McKinney, where I teach public policy and social research. So I am a 2017 Commonwealth Scholar and completed my master's in public policy at the University of Bristol in the United Kingdom. So also I am the course coordinator for a master's in sustainable development program at the University of McKinney here. And then during the peak of the COVID-19 pandemic, I was crucial in facilitating for us to transfer, leverage e-learning, internet education at the university. So as a result, I was appointed by the university administration as the lead for the Open Distance and E-Learning Directorate. So I've gone through some of the courses by the COP program, and I found the third one, technology and education, very, very useful and helpful. And then, so I am very passionate about education. I am so happy to meet all of you, and I look forward to not only learn from this program, but to also leverage the network that we could create from this program. Thank you so much.
Great, thank you. It's wonderful to meet you and have you here. All right, and next is Bello, one of our BSU fellows. Bello.
Okay, thank you. I think there is a noise. If the rain, I don't know if it is not disturbing you. Okay, I am Muhammadu Bello from Cameroon. I am BSU fellow, and I am a teacher trainer, and I am working mostly in education technology. I see there are many specialists in the domain here. I'd be happy to exchange with them. And also I am interested in education, psychology, and administration. That are also my domains of study at the university. I am starting a new program of teacher training that we are going to please to share with you when the time will come with the link. Thank you.
Thank you. It's great to see you as ever. Great. And next is another of our wonderful fellows, Kathleen.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Kathleen Semedo. I'm from Cabo Verde. I work at the Judiciary Police. I'm interested in education, child, and the youth issue. I'm so glad to be here with you, and I hope I can connect with everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathleen. It's great to see you as ever. Yeah. And next is Fusi.
Good day, everyone. My name is Fosi Yar. I am in the public management track affiliated with Georgia State University. I'm in the education sector, specifically I'm a teacher. I recently graduated from the University of Turku in Finland with my education degree.
Wonderful. It's great to meet you. Thank you. And next is Hyatt.
Hello, everyone. My name is Hyatt. I'm from Ethiopia. I'm placed at University of Minnesota Twin Cities in the Mandela Washington Fellowship. I am a pediatrician and a pediatric cardiology fellow at the Addis Ababa University. I'm an assistant professor of pediatrics, and I am a medical educator, so I get to mentor medical students and specialty trainees in pediatrics. And I was also a medical education coordinator for medical education in my university, which is actually an undergraduate, unlike the US. And it's very exciting to be here. And I look forward to meeting everyone. Thank you.
Wonderful. It's so nice to meet you. So you're Dr. Ali then. Very nice to meet you. All right. And Marianne Mckinnon. Full name?
Good morning, everybody. My name is Marianne Mckinnon. I'm the Associate Dean of the College of Education and Health Sciences at Bridgewater State University. And my role is to oversee all the teacher and educator licensing programs at our university. We have 75 of them at Bridgewater State. And these are for folks who are seeking to teach preschool through grade 12 or high school in Massachusetts. Nice to meet everybody. I look forward to the conversation.
Wonderful. Thank you. It's delightful to have you with us as well. Thank you. All right, and next up is Binyam, one of our BSU fellows.
Yes, hi everyone. My name is Binyam. I'm from Ethiopia. I'm currently the country manager of Kamara Education, which is an NGO that tries to improve education through technology, so very much in EdTech. And yeah, so happy to be with everyone today and the BSU team as well. And yeah, look forward to having an interesting discussion.
Wonderful, thank you. It's always great to have you in discussion. And next is your colleague, Dr. Charles Gobili, who's another of our BSU fellows. Charles.
Trying to.
Yeah, you're good. You're unmuted.
Oh, yeah. Very happy to be part of this very big community today. I'm impressed with the introduction. I'm Dr. Charles Gobili. I work in the education sector in Liberia. I support Liberia's Ministry of Education to help particularly with the teaching force, to professionalize the teaching force. I also lecture at 2 graduate universities in Liberia, University of Liberia and Cottington University. I also have my own organization where I promote the work of young people, research, and also writing some books to support the education system. So it's a pleasure actually being here to learn from you and also share my layman knowledge. Thank you.
Thank you. It's always great to have you, Charles. And it's wonderful to have such a range of educational professionals, from people teaching small children to professors. This is fantastic. All right. And next is one of our colleagues at BSU, Luis Paredes. Luis? Yes, Luis? All right, we could come back to Luis in a moment. All right, Luis runs the Office of Institutional Diversity at BSU, and he'll be joining in one of the breakout groups to talk a little bit more with all of the fellows. And next is another of our colleagues at BSU, Dean Janine Davis-Street. Janine, would you like to briefly introduce yourself? Hello. Oh, you're muted, Janine. Or you're I can't hear you. It says you're not muted, but I try again.
I think that worked. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Again, greetings to all of you. My name is Janine Street. I'm the Dean for the Ricciardi College of Business here at Bridgewater State University. I've been in this role for 3 years now, and my area of discipline is finance. And so I'm looking forward to working not only with all of you, but specifically with the mentee who has been assigned to me to share, hopefully, ideas about entrepreneurship, socially responsible investing, as well as agency theory, which are some of the topics that I worked on in my graduate studies. So welcome to you all, and I look forward to engaging with you more.
Wonderful. Thank you. It's a delight to have you with us. All right. And next is Nathan. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, Nathan or Natan. Mm-hmm.
Yes, you are. Thank you. I'm Nathan, but my full name is Kibuela Nathan Geraldo Marcelo. I'm from Angola. I am in public management track, University of Minnesota. I work as a teacher, but I'm a teacher by, not by profession, but by passion, I can say like this. I have a BA in international relations. I teach English, French, and Portuguese. I'm part of Global Shapers community, a community of leaders that is sponsored by the World Economic Forum. I'm coordinator of a youth and children organization that is Quisito Norit Movement in Angola. I have worked there as a financial secretary, vice coordinator, and I'm presently the coordinator. And I am also co-founder of Maluma Association, that is an association that aims at providing food and clothes for the most needing people of the society. Thank you.
Wonderful. It's wonderful to have you with us. Thank you.
Thanks.
And Goretti.
Thank you once again. I'm sorry I won't be able to turn on the video because my network is quite very weak and on and off. But introducing myself, I'm Goretti Biomire from Uganda. I'm on the public management track for the University of Minnesota. I'm a lecturer. I teach IT and computing at Carrigan University Business School. At the same time, I'm the director for the Disability Resource and Learning Center. I'm also a PhD student with the University of South Africa. I'm looking at how we can use inclusive technology for disseminating information during pandemics and disasters. And then at the same time, I'm also a member of the Inclusive Education Initiative of the World Bank, doing research on inclusive education. I'm an advocate for inclusive education. I'm quite very passionate about that, inclusion and diversity. I'm a researcher on disability issues. My other passion lies with employability of persons with disabilities. I look for placements, internship for students with disabilities. And then I'm also quite passionate about empowerment of women and girls with disabilities, especially in university education. I'm quite very excited to be here and nice to meet you all. Thank you.
Wonderful. It's so nice to meet you as well, Grati. All right, and next we have Donna, who has two different Zoom screens here. So Donna.
Hello?
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. And I hear a cute child as well.
Yeah, apologies. I'm trying my computer and my telephone with the poor internet. So my name is Donat Mjenga. I'm from Rwanda. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, I work with Rwanda Institute for Conservation and Agriculture. I am the Director of Admissions and Recruitment. My prime work focuses on developing policies and strategy to help recruit, young men and women with passion and those who demonstrate leadership, entrepreneurship potential to contribute to transforming conservation agriculture in Rwanda. So I'm so delighted to have the opportunity to attend tonight.
Fantastic. Yeah, we have a few fellows here interested in conservation. So that's great. Welcome to the group. All right, and Amadou, you can go next. Yes, we're just doing brief introductions. Yeah. There you go.
Hello.
Hello.
This is Yalo Ahmad from Guinea country. I'm currently serving as an HR administrator for Agrico. Agrico is a pipeline company serving as my main focus is to recruit, to manage performances and disciplinary issues and retirement. What I'm doing actually. Thank you very much.
All right, welcome to the group. It's great to have you with us, Amadou. All right, and next we have Dennis. You're next to join the group here. Yes, Dennis.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hello, I can hear you now. Yes.
Sorry.
No worries.
Sorry if I can't connect with video. Okay, super. I'm Dennis Additional. I'm a political scientist. Currently, I work at AFDB, African Development Bank, as a consultant at the board affairs. So what we do entirely is to assist the board in its decision making and making sure that the countries that are submitted to the AFDB meet the criteria and the need of the country. So currently, as far as Yali is concerned, I'm working on a program to sponsor. It's a kind of mentorship scholarship program for secondary. I'm initiating with the fellow Yali, and then the objective is to make sure that we create a new generation of people who are targeting excellence. And then not only focusing on the normal academic aspect, also on the mentoring aspect of it, and then giving them the opportunity to network and then to prepare them for future professions. Thank you.
Thank you. It's wonderful to have you with us. And finally, Akosua. Akosua, if you want to introduce yourself.
Yeah, hello. My name is Akosua Owusuefa. I'm a Ghanaian. I'm sorry. I'm just not feeling well. That's why I'm not talking to you. I work with Volta River Authority in Ghana. It's a power generating company, which is state-owned. Is there anything else I would have to add?
Just a brief introduction of your name, where you're from, and what you do. Wonderful. All right, well, it's so nice to meet you and to see that we have a range of professionals, right? Both people who are working as classroom teachers, people who are doing research, people who are working as doctors, right? We have people in all sorts of fields. So I think we'll have a really rich discussion. We are going to move now into breakout rooms. And these breakout rooms, you will address the questions that were raised in our panel discussion from our first session of the recorded sessions. So those questions I will post to the chat. They are: first, what is the most significant educational challenge that you have faced over the past year? What positive innovations have you seen educational leaders make in response to these challenges? And again, you'll recall from the recorded session, we had a really rich discussion about these topics with our scholars I was interviewing. So I'm really excited to hear what your experiences have been dealing with the immense challenge that the COVID-19 pandemic has presented and continues to present, as well as with other challenges, economic challenges, political challenges, ongoing social issues. So I really look forward to that discussion. We're going to move into 5 breakout rooms, which will be each facilitated by a member of the Mandela Washington leadership team. And those breakout rooms will include fellows, as well as some of our other BSU faculty and administrators that are joining us here, who can reflect on the BSU experience a little bit more as well. So Dr. Toe, do you want to open up those breakout rooms? You're muted. You're muted, Winkai.
Yeah, I'll open up the rooms now. There are a few fellows who need to stay in the main room. So
that'll be one of the rooms, yeah.
Yeah, in not one of the rooms, but just stay here. Yeah.
Yeah.
And not, yeah. Okay.
We'll treat it as a room. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
And for Rose, I mistakenly put you into one of the rooms, so don't enter the room when I say open all rooms. So also Mohammed, I think I got him in the waiting room. Are you, can Megan?
Yeah, Mohammed cut out and then he came back again. So I think was he able to reconnect? He seemed to be having some problems with his connection. Okay, I think I'm not sure if he's still here. We'll see. Everybody's moving around. No, I think Mohammed got cut out. So hopefully he'll be able to reconnect in a moment. But yes, he should be in the main room as well.
Yeah, I don't know if I actually accidentally put him in the waiting room because I need to change the format to do that.
Yeah, there's no one in the waiting room right now.
Okay. Tom, you can go to your room if you like. Unfortunately, I have to find my room. No, number 4.
No worries, that's fine.
So I'm sorry about Mohammed. So I maybe.
Yeah, so when he comes back, I'll just make sure that he's in this room.
Okay.
Yeah, I noticed he was going in and out when we were doing the introductions. And then, okay, did Rose go to one of her rooms? She needs to come back here. Just a moment. Just a moment, guys. We'll get started in just a moment. All right. And here's Rose. All right, wonderful. All right, welcome everyone. So we'll have some time now to really dig into those big questions. Who would like to begin with the most significant educational challenge you've seen in the past year? Amadou, would you like to begin? The box
Sure.
just went over to your face, so I figure I'll call on you.
Well, thank you very much for this great opportunity again to entertain with my fellows and with you actually. Well, if I can take the challenges in my country that I know very well, we're facing many challenges. Maybe I think Africa is the same in general, but Guinea's case is really specific. The first thing here, we don't have the capital challenges is that we don't have infrastructure in the education system. The standard is that we need to have 25 students in a classroom. But when I was doing my college, we were like 200 to 300 in a classroom. And sometimes you see when you come late, no place for you to enter, then you follow your classes through the window. That's the first challenge we're facing. So we don't have facilities in the education side. And what I'm talking to you is just in the capital city. When you go to the countryside, there's no classes. There's no classes at all. That's the first. And the second problem is that moving all the teachers in our education system would love to stay in the capital cities, like Conakry, Mamou, and so on. If you ask a teacher to go, for example, in an area where the conditions are not really got it, they gave up, or they tried to do a kind of corruption in order to come back to the city, to come back to that decision. Why? Because when you go to the site at the different villages and areas, there's no water, there's no many mosquitoes, and your salary that don't come on time. These are the global thing is that one. And the second one, if we don't talk about facilities, how can we talk about libraries and computers and so on? And we've really faced the challenges during the pandemic in 2019. Still, we're facing challenges because we have to follow we have to be on the same pace of African continent and the globalization system. So last year, for example, 2019 and 2020, we started like having classes on via web, via technology, like students staying home and get connected to the computer or phone, cell phone to follow classes. But actually the problem is first, we are facing internet problems. That's one. Second, we're facing electricity problem. Third, well, there are some students they don't have cell phone, like Android. It's not really well developed in the countries. So these are challenges, but I'm telling you, the changes we have noticed this past month is that we have a technocrat. The current Minister of Education is a very good one. I'm telling you. Apart from being in the system, to solve a problem, you need to know the problem itself. And not longer than 2 weeks, he provided a report on a kind of all the challenges that the Guinean education system is going through from the top to the bottom, and how, if the political decision is accompanied, how they come up to solve the problem within the 10 coming years. And the result of this, the bad education system we have is that in the exam classes, there's a lot of failures, especially these past years.
Yeah, so a lot of those challenges we've highlighted. Oh, sorry.
Student didn't really follow. Yeah, I was saying that we've seen a lot of like students did not really succeed because if they have to stay behind their computer or cell phone to follow classes, it's not given to anybody, and we've been through many problems. And, well, these are the problems we're facing, but we believe that within the care of Minister of Education, things can change if the political needs actually is right there. That's all I can say. We think that there are so many challenges that we can't fix them along 5 or 10 years. It's impossible.
Wonderful. Yeah, so you've laid out a lot of challenges that I've seen in many other African contexts, that we've seen to some extent in American contexts as well. Rural-urban divides, places where there's a pretty high supply of teachers and places where teachers are less excited about working. That's certainly a problem. Very large classes, right? You're right that American universities tend to be much smaller classes, right? The kind of group of 25 we have here is pretty typical for Bridgewater State. But there are a lot of other state universities in this country that, because of funding problems and such, are increasingly having larger and larger classes. And then, above all, this challenge of the abrupt shift to online education during the COVID pandemic. I know that's been a challenge for us across the United States, but it's especially been a challenge for many African countries where, as you say, the connectivity issues are massive, right? We all know this from participating in this institute, right? This is a real challenge that, again, I think is going to exacerbate a lot of those pre-COVID divisions between rural and urban students and wealthier and less affluent students. So for other, and so you also, oh yes, you also highlighted though that leadership matters, right? That leadership at the national level can help to bridge some of these seemingly intractable problems and gaps. Did you want to add on to that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, you're breaking up.
I did teaching at the university, but I'm not really, I don't feel myself as a teacher because conditions are not really well settled. There's no career development, emancipation in that specific field. You can teach out there 30 years and then find yourself in the street if you get sick. There's nothing that can help you solve issues. Right. So young generation is running out of education for other businesses.
Yeah, and that is a problem in the United States as well. Thank you. Yeah, that teaching tends to be a pretty low paid profession, which makes it unattractive to a lot of high achieving students. All right, so we've listed a lot of problems. Are these problems that others have seen in their countries, or do you want to also add other challenges that have been really paramount in your experience over the past year? Other fellows.
Hello.
Yes, hello, Donat.
Yes, thank you, Megan. Yes, I think most of the challenges that comes across. In Rwanda, we have seen a challenge of access, especially during this pandemic period. While the government has invested a lot in infrastructure, making internet accessible to around 100% across the country, and despite even the government policy to offer 50% of the programs offered in different universities online, that's a wish anyway, it's a plan. But the most critical challenge has been now adapting to the challenges following the lockdowns. Access to resources has been the main challenge. Internet connectivity. I think this is a challenge that nearly every nation has come across. So the access to educational programs, and those at least who have already resources have again had issues of internet connectivity. This is something I have seen here, and I believe here in Rwanda and in other countries, we must be drawing some lessons of having a shift from traditional way of teaching and learning to finding ways of having technology at the center of teaching and learning. So I think what we are doing here is probably a step towards that. The government plan in Rwanda is to have 50% of university programs in private and public universities offered by ODL, Open and Distance Learning. And I hope this is something we may not really achieve by 24 as planned, but at least given the government investment in making internet accessible and lessons learned to be something that will help us understand and how best we need to improve our educational system with the use of technology. Yeah.
Absolutely, thank you. Yeah, and that's going to be, a really explicit focus in our next session next Thursday. We'll be looking at your recorded session 3, which focuses specifically on educational technology. So we'll be able to get into some different strategies that you've seen at your institutions and in your countries to deal with these problems. Other fellows, what are there? So this challenge of access is something that Donat really underscored, and Amadou's comments also underscored that. What are some challenges in your countries around access? Yes, Rose. Sorry, you want, okay. Rose, actually you raised your hand first. So Rose and then Goretti.
Okay, just to add on the challenges that we are facing in Kenya, I'm sure that the most part of Africa is access to education for children with disability as well. For many reasons, most of the children with disabilities are not in schools because they don't have assistive devices. The schools are not accessible. The infrastructure is not accessible enough, and the curriculum as well, which we use, is too rigid and too complicated. And teachers are not well equipped to teach the children with disabilities because they don't understand what to do with them. And most of the time we find that the children who manage to be enrolled in schools are put in one room together and they're left there. Or they're told to sit at the back of the classrooms. The other challenges there is the attitude of the parents. They're not seeing really the value or the worth of the children with disabilities. So most of them are told to remain at home as their siblings go on to school because the parents think taking them to school is just a waste of resources. Also, some of the challenges that I've noticed is that the proximities of the special schools, especially in the rural areas, most of the schools are about 200 to 500 kilometers away. And the schools which are close to their neighborhood do not accommodate children with disabilities. So these are some of the many reasons that we are facing and here in Kenya, which are mainly being access to education. So what our project is trying to do some capacity building to some of the schools on disability inclusion, trying to help the teachers understand or get some basic understanding of how to identify children with disabilities and how best they can deliver the curriculum to them. We're also trying to adapt some of the curriculums, trying to fit them with the needs of the children with special needs. And we're also trying to procure materials and assistive technologies. Just trying to support with the teaching in the classrooms. With teaching aids, we've procured some of these devices, just trying to address the gaps. So that's a bit specific for our project, but we're trying to see what will come out after the end of the project, and hopefully the government will take over and continue the practice. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Those comments, I think, again, really resonate with a lot of other contexts, including the United States, right? The United States has pretty well developed infrastructure for special education and sort of mainstreaming students with disabilities. But, you know, the pandemic has thrown a lot of those systems into crisis. And so you raised some excellent points. I had Goretti next on the queue, and then we'll take Frank, then we'll take Hyatt. Hopefully we will not get kicked out of this breakout room before everyone has a chance to speak. So Goretti, would you like to go next? Were you still in queue? Perhaps your comments came up and, okay, there you go, gotcha. Okay, she's vanished. Okay, so we'll take Frank next and then Hyatt. Oh, wait, now she's back. Let's take Frank and then we'll come back to Goretti once she's sorted out here.
Sure. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, the challenges in education had in the past year have been more about, yeah, obviously there was the pandemic and the uncertainty. I think that given is fine, but I think there's this other side where I think with the University of Cape Town, there's a change in the admissions policy. I think the admissions policy prior to that was, it favored a certain class, should we say, of people over the other. So with that change, there was the population that came to the university was a population that represented the country. So you had more Black students who are making up the population to look like the population of the country. So with that, you have students who came from under-resourced schools, but they're the top achievers in those schools. So they're top achievers in those schools and making do with whatever resources they have. And then they get to this, the top university on the continent, and then they're not at the top anymore, they're right at the bottom. So that's also a big shock. But there is support, there is whether academic support, psychosocial support, lots of support in first year, but as students leave the first year, that support is just gone. Because first year, students can have a mentor in their faculty, a mentor in their scholarship program, a mentor in their residence, and yeah, it's almost over mentorship. But then the second year, all that support is gone, but the gap between high school and first year is big, but from first year to the second year is even bigger. And obviously post they would have adapted. So there's that challenge of not having a legacy of knowing what, because some students have that legacy that, their families have gone to university. So this is a big shock that how do you handle university? Who can I go to for tips and advice? If I start asking for advice, I seem as if I am not, so there's that challenge as well. So, and as well, should I say the softer side of not knowing how to learn. You thrived in a particular way in high school, you're a top performer, and you come to high school, you can't cram this mass load of information, and now everything is online. So I'll just stop there to give others a chance. But yeah, those are some of the challenges, and looking for role models.
Yeah, thank you so much. Working with first generation college students is a challenge for many of us in the United States as well. I was just checking what university you're at. You're based at University of Minnesota. So, that's a flagship public university that attracts students from across the state from, as I'm sure you've learned, very different kinds of schools, right? Again, we have these rural-urban divides, all of these other sorts of inequities that are structured into the American educational system. I'd be happy to talk with you more about these challenges of working with first generation college students, because Bridgewater State has a lot of them. A majority of our students are the first in their family to attend university. And so we've really put a lot of effort into thinking about systems of support. I want to turn now to Hyatt. Before we wrap up, you were able to make a couple comments in the chat. Thank you. I'll give you a chance to share those aloud.
Thank you, Megan. So I'm in medical education, so I just wanted to share some of the special challenges that we face in conducting medical education in the time of the pandemic. And the major challenge was conducting bedside teachings because especially in the very early days of the pandemic, students were very scared to go in the wards, and the patient number was also excessively decreasing. And so it was quite difficult to have the patient trainee contact in the very first days of the pandemic. And then also we had issues with having PPEs for everyone in going into the wards and ICUs or in the emergencies. And additionally, there was we actually take a large number of medical students in the Addis Ababa University, in the hospital I work in. It's the biggest hospital in the country. And so we had to break them down into smaller rooms and smaller groups. And we had shortage of staff to attend all of those small groups. And obviously a part of our staff was actually deployed to care for patients with COVID. So that was also, that made medical education a bit difficult. And one of the innovations obviously was, we'll definitely talk about it more next week, was the technology innovations. And additionally, we were also able to reach out to our honorary staff who live overseas and engage them through online platforms to actually deliver some lectures, talks. So that was a good opportunity, a blessing in disguise somehow. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, that has been one major benefit of the pandemic, is just so much more stuff going online, right? So for myself, as someone who I work on African history from the United States, right? So I've been able to attend so many conferences and seminars, across the African continent that would be very difficult, if not impossible, for me to attend in person. So I mean, that has been a tremendous asset, really accelerating collaboration between colleagues around the world. And, even if you're not doing international work, I'm a parent of a young child. It's great to not have to travel, right? I mean, I think, a lot of these innovations ultimately will outlive the pandemic, hopefully, and will allow people from different backgrounds to be involved in professional life in ways that are otherwise very difficult. Goretti, you had your hand up earlier. I'm not sure if you still wanted to comment.
Yes, thank you very much. Going back to the question, the most significant education challenge. When the pandemic started, we planned for other things, but we didn't really have a straight plan for education. So we have, as a country, we have been kind of doing things haphazardly. So we have had time and over again, we have had students out of school. Currently now they're at home, and one of the ways the government suggested was to introduce distance learning using TVs, radios, and self-study material. However, the learning on the radio and TV, it leaves out with some students with special needs. The material that was delivered, it's not in Braille, it's not accessible. So we're not doing well via access, via every learner learning in the pandemic. So other students are at an advantage, and sadly the students with special needs are at a disadvantage. So they've not had inclusive learning materials or even inclusive learning programs for them. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you're echoing. Yeah. You're echoing a lot of points that we've heard as well from Rose, from Donat, from Amadou, right? All of these sorts of divides, challenges for students with disabilities, challenges for students that have been excluded even before the pandemic, really being exacerbated by all of these new stresses. Thank you.
Okay, maybe what I can add on is that if we had a policy, if we had a thought out plan that this is what we are going to do, and this is the person or the ministry or the person who will be in charge of this and that. So we don't have a thought out plan. We don't have a thought out plan for continuity in education. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And that's where we're going to try to go next week, right? Is to in an hour, right? Try to solve all the problems of education around the world, right? Try to think about what challenges we're all facing and how at this moment, right, as we're still dealing with the pandemic, but it seems like increasingly there's an end in sight. We can try to make the most of some of these innovations we've developed over the past year and try to take things in a new direction moving forward. So our next session will really be looking at the recorded sessions 2 and 3, thinking about transformations of the curriculum. Mohammed, I saw you have some comments about curriculum in the chat here. I just noticed those. So these will be things to come up next week for sure. So we talk in the recorded sessions about this challenge of decolonizing the curriculum. I think that we're getting kicked out of the breakout rooms now. This challenge of decolonizing the curriculum, trying to find, this is something Amadou suggested too, right? Trying to find new ways to innovate that include all learners. And we'll be thinking more about technology in that context too. So everybody's coming back together now. So I'll stop talking to my breakout group. Thank you all for your comments.
Thank you.
Well, awesome.
Thank you. And I think everybody's here now. So unfortunately, we need to wrap up.
Okay.
We are it is noon. I don't know if any of my colleagues want to make any concluding remarks about their breakout rooms, but in my group, we had some really fantastic discussions around these problems of access, problems of curricular structure, problems of who's included and who's excluded, around issues of rural-urban divides, students with special needs, right? All of these different challenges that all of our educational systems have long faced, really being exacerbated in this past year, and how policymakers have tried and in many cases failed to use technology to address some of these problems.
Yeah, so yeah, thank you. No, I mean, we share the same points, but we nominated our friend Ibrahim to give you just in 1 minute, if you don't mind.
Sure, that's great.
Give you some of the points that we thought is important to answer the 2 question challenges and how to overcome these challenges with the creativity and innovation. Ibrahim?
Thank you very much. So the key themes that emerge from the challenges are generally the COVID-19 pandemic. It's really served as a major challenge that affected the education sector. And then significantly, the school closures led to lack of access to education, especially in poor African countries, where most African countries experience internet poverty. And then we also talked about the idea that the infrastructure, the internet infrastructure in most African countries was not prepared. It was not strengthened to cope with that kind of shock. And then, of course, another theme that emerged was the idea of training teachers in a situation where they don't have access to students. So that student-teacher engagement was lacking, and that served as also a significant challenge. And if I'm to summarize the opportunities that we also identify, is to leverage what technology has offered us. Most African countries, we are not prepared, but due to the pandemic, now most universities have e-learning set up, they now have Zoom. So the opportunity is that we can now leverage this flexibility. We can now, in terms of climate change and in the environment, we don't need to travel always. We can, the opportunity that we are experiencing now, the Mandela Washington Fellowship, is a significant example that we can implement such prestigious opportunities virtually and then take these tools to address development challenges in our society. So that's briefly. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ibrahim. Yeah, those again resonate with a lot of themes that came up in my group. Jabril, do you want to share any reflections or have a fellow from your group share?
Sure. In my group, the conversation primarily was focused around supporting families. And they came up with all kinds of innovative ways of supporting families, their emotional well-being, doing home visits to help the families. And Nana was in our group, and Nana took it to the whole nother level where she worked in a private school, and actually she was taking money out of, as in her own words, we're taking money away from the rich to give to the poor during the pandemic to help support these families. So she was providing funding support from her private school to these poor schools. So that was one thing that they did. The other innovation that the group discussed was supporting children in their learning. For the children who didn't have access to the internet, one of the creative solutions they came up with was actually printing out the material and driving it to the family's home and dropping off homework and picking it up in paper form. Since they didn't have any internet, they driving around and dropping off the books and the material. They complete the work, they'll come back in the morning and pick it up. So that was quite an interesting perspectives that they shared.
That's fantastic. All right, so I'm getting a direct message from my colleague Winkaya that we need to end this session because we have to start our next session for the BSU cohort. So thank you all so much. We've had wonderful ideas. There's been great ideas both orally and in the chat. And I really look forward to continuing our conversation the same time next Thursday. So 3 p.m. GMT again next Thursday. We'll be focusing really on some of the solutions that we've been working on in our own careers and with institutional changes in our countries and communities to deal with some of these challenges we presented today. And you'll be focusing specifically on these questions of curricular change and how we can use technology to deal with these problems. So be sure to watch sessions 2 and 3 of our recorded content before we all come together again next week. We will put together, I have an email list for everyone in this group. We'll put together a WhatsApp group as well so that you can keep some of these conversations going before our next session next week if you wish. Thank you all so much. I really enjoyed meeting everyone today and seeing our familiar faces as well. Thank you guys. Be well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Megan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Hey, hello.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.